Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, there are just 279 days until Christmas 2022. Oh, it's so good to see you all here. We have our friend Jason Ward just joining us. Hey, Jason, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's a Monday, and
Yeah.
and here we are. Here, so we do have a lot of topics we can touch on today. You text me just a little bit ago, messaged me and said you were working on releasing an article, and just as I hit the countdown, I hit refresh, and lo and behold, oh, there's a new article on makingstarwars.net. We will be talking about that as well as lots of other topics. And I put, and first of all, we know there's a typo in the thumbnail. It's right over there. Doc, what over there?
No, on our thumbnail right now?
Yeah, right there.
Did I bring it with me?
No. Our good friend who helps us out with making thumbnails and graphics and that kind of thing.
Raymax.
His girlfriend took him to Portugal for vacation, just having a great time. And he threw together a thumbnail real quick for us right before he got on the plane to leave. And he knows that typo is in the header.
Dog drown. That's so good. I like it. It's kind of punk rock. It's like, like when Andy Warhol would have people and he would rename them. No, right now you're Doc Brown.
I like it. There you go. He knows it's there, and he'll update that when he gets back from Portugal. So they're on vacation, and I hope he's having a fantastic time on vacation. So there you have it.
Fake fan. He's missing the Star Wars news today. I'm disappointed in him. I'm going with the beautiful woman to Portugal who takes you. But over Star Wars, I don't know, man. I don't know. You changed, bro.
I've seen little TikTok videos where girlfriends are laying in the bed, and he says, he's got a full-grown woman laying in his bed, yet he's on the computer, playing a video game or something, and it's like,
Purge troopers.
Where are your priorities, man? You got to sort out, like Ron Weasley said in Harry Potter, she needs to sort out her priorities. So that's it's one of our favorite lines, because I don't know if you remember the scene. Hermione Granger is lecturing the boys on getting them in trouble. She says, "You're going to mess up and get us expelled, or no, you're going to get us killed, or even worse, expelled." and then Ron says she needs to sort out her priorities, which is worse, expelled or dying. So there are tons of things to cover. And the very first question, Chris Pewitt asked about this dinner photo. So I want to show this just because if you haven't seen this, there was an awards dinner done just a couple days ago, and at the awards dinner, you can see we've got some very, very important people at the table. We've got George Lucas, we've got Steven Spielberg, Kathleen Kennedy, this very bored young lady. That's probably
I'm confused though, Star Wars Santa. I thought there was a giant civil war. How could they all be sitting together breaking bread? I am confused.
You see, Spielberg had to separate them. He's like, no, you got to sit over there.
Yeah.
But then as Meg pointed out, you've got Kathleen Kennedy's doppelganger. It's actually her sister, right at the bottom of the screen. And then across the table from the very bored lady sits Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Let this be a lesson to you all.
They're keeping their eye on their enemy, man. They're like, no, watch your drink. Anthrax. Be careful.
When you're sitting at a table full of VIPs, don't be this lady.
That's that lesson. Lady. That is the coolest person at the table. She's like, nerds. That's probably where she's coming from. I wonder.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
She's like, all I've heard all night, Star Wars, blah, 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 blah.
money, industry stock. Oh, this guy over here, 4 billion in stock. Who cares? Where's my tortellini or whatever? What are they eating? I can't tell. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
KFC. Rich people are weird, man.
Rubber chicken. That's what I've been to lots of these kind of dinners. When I was in the U.S. Army band, they would be catering to like the president of the United States, right? He'd be sitting in the other room. They're carrying out dinners, and they would bring us the same dinner, right? And we would eat it in the back, and yeah, they get the same rubber chicken everybody else does. Trust me, I've had it. So yeah, you got some of the biggest producers, directors in Hollywood history sitting at the table, and you're eating your rubber chicken. She's like, oh, can I just have some KFC? Right? That's what she's really thinking. She's like, KFC would be so much better than this.
Yeah.
So very, very funny. But no, this is, it's been raised. I think you made a really good point. Like, isn't there a civil war going on? Aren't we at odds? Isn't George Lucas getting ready to buy back Star Wars? I thought that he was so frustrated that he just wanted to undo the deal. Here, you can have your money back. Give it back. No.
And Lucas's wife is like, I'm wearing a mask around these people. They look like they would get the COVID. Because look at them. She's like, nope. Yeah. I'm not risking it with you crazies. Good on her.
For those that don't know, that's George Lucas's wife sitting
Melody
next
Hobson,
to him.
Yeah, she's not.
She's a lovely person. Yeah, no, it's very good. I see we've got the chat is going strong. So much fun. Let's see. Fitz is here. X-Wing is here. I saw Jedi Jen in the chat as well. Ronnie, who's drowning? No, nobody. It's a typo. Just a typo. Mike Porter, troll you for fun. Mike Porter, very good. I love the name update there, Mike Porter. We've got Wolfpack and Ronnie. I think I already mentioned Darth Elvis. Hot dang, everybody! Darth Elvis is in the building. Let's see who else. Just get caught up with the chat as I'm.
Can we just say that? Can we just say that Doc Drown is your rap name? Can we just make it? Then that way it's not wrong. It's not a typo anymore.
Meg pick right up on that.
Doc Drown, because you are going to speak street on a couple of episodes. It's going to happen. I mean, there's a whole conspiracy against you to make it happen.
Trucker Mark, thank you for the $5 super chat. I was able to talk to Trucker Mark just the other day. He's in my in my age group, so a peer of mine in sorts, and he is growing his beard out. He's actually interested in becoming a professional Santa Claus. So we had a wonderful talk about being Santa Claus and what that looks like, and so maybe some of the first steps that he can take along that path.
I hear the baby Chewbacca. The baby Chewbacca
running
around.
You do. We're still doing. We're still doing our renovations here. The contractors have been in and out, so that's what's going on there. All right, so I'm all caught up on the chat. So you do have a couple of articles coming out today. First of all, I'd like to go back to Star Wars Fits, another super chat. Thank you so much for that with just the super sticker there. Appreciate that so much. So the first story is actually the older of the two. You released this just yesterday.
Last night, yeah. Late last night.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan Kenobi's Rogue One connection. Give us the lowdown on Obi-Wan Kenobi's Rogue One connection.
Yeah, so in Rogue One, you meet Saw Gerrera, and of course he has this group of crazy freedom fighters. But what we learn is that they're different than Bail Organa's organization and Mon Mothma and the General Rebel Alliance. These are the cats that were too crazy. They're too wild. They hit like civilian targets and stuff. And so basically here, though, we are introduced to the partisans before they're crazy. And there's sort of a humanitarian effort going on Jabim of some kind. And as that is going, that's what it sounds like anyways. So we end up with these group of freedom fighters, and half of them are really ready to go and become the part of the Rebel Alliance, and the other half just want to get people food, supplies, medical treatment, things that the Empire is not providing, and they're basically refugees. And so we end up with a story where Kenobi ends up intertwined with this early iteration of the partisans. And as we talked about in the past, they will kind of inspire Kenobi, and O'Shea Jackson's character is one of them. And I'm just to make it clear, because it always goes there, he's not young Saw Gerrera or anything like that. He's a different character altogether. But yeah, so I thought it's kind of neat though, and it opens up a lot of questions in my mind, like for the future shows like Andor and stuff too.
Because, well, and that's what your article title's a bit of a clicky title. Mm-hmm. Congratulations on that. But also, are we essentially telecasting there will be a crossover to Rogue One with perhaps O'Shea Jackson's character?
Potentially. I mean, I don't have any evidence of that. And I kind of think if O'Shea was going over to the UK, somebody would have noticed, I think. I think people would be able to figure that out. And I don't think we have. So I'm not trying to make anybody think it's going to go that way, but it does seem that the partisans are definitely, they're at play. They are the guys from Rogue One, but in this show, yeah, they have like more of a World War I vibe to them.
As I was reading this, I thought of the Solo story where you see Han Solo is part of the Imperial Stormtrooper kind of remnant, and it was a pre-Stormtrooper outfit that he had on, or it was different, very different, right?
Yeah,
and it was also rainy and muddy. I looked it up; it's not the same place.
I thought it was the same place for a minute. Like when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, it's the same place," and then I was like, "Wait a minute, no, Jabim is from the books. It's a different thing."
Yeah, it's a different thing. I had to look it up because I was like, wait, everything Jason's saying, is this is it Mimban?
That's it. Mimban, yeah.
Mimban, the Mud Troopers. That's right. Yeah. That's it. X-Wing. So we looked it up. Mimban is the other planet, and in that movie, Solo was dressed in a little bit of a pre or maybe World War I-ish kind of look out. And when I saw it, it reminded me of the same. So very, you made the parallels here to Rogue One, off of the partisans, right? Saw Gerrera's partisans.
But and Saw Gerrera is mentioned. He is mentioned in it. I've heard. So it's I didn't mean for it to sound like a clickbait article if it did, but I couldn't go out and say Jabim and the partisans are in this, because when people retweet it, then they start going, "You spoiled Obi-Wan Kenobi for me." So that's where it's
weird. A couple of things we should bring up. Look, this discussion will go into spoiler territory. I put it in the description, but we should be very clear. We're not holding back. When we get into spoilers, we'll get into spoilers. I did see a comment over the weekend from the live stream I did with Meg on Friday that spoilers abound. And I'm pretty bad at announcing that ahead of time. And I don't always put it in the header or, make it prominent for folks to see. So spoilers, warnings. In fact, while I'm thinking of it, I'll just put a little, I'm going to create a text topic here. Text banner, add new.
We're in the future.
Spoilers. Spoiler warning. There we go. Add it. Show it. There you go, you guys. Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
Now you can see it as well.
Yeah.
Fitz giving me a hard time. So yeah, this reminded me a lot of the kind of aesthetics that was in Solo when Han was a part of the army.
The Imperial, when he gets drummed out of the TIE fighter, I don't know, TIE fighter corps, I don't know what you call it. He can't be a TIE fighter pilot, gets kicked out and then gets dropped off on Mimban, and and it's not for him.
yeah, that's Mimban. Here we're on Jabim, and the tie-in is to Rogue One from the partisans. So just be clear about that. So
and I didn't get anything on Saw Gerrera showing up. I don't believe he does. I haven't heard anything about Two Tubes being there or Moroff, like the bigger like prominent designs that you saw from Rogue One. I don't think they like show up. I think we're kind of getting like maybe the implications of a larger idea or story as it goes on, where we see like they start as these like young kind of kids with ideals that want to do the right thing. And Obi-Wan Kenobi even finds it like inspiring. And then by the time you get to Rogue One, Saw Gerrera's living in a cave thinking everybody wants to kill him, and he's lost his mind, and they're all a bunch of maniacs. And but I have a feeling that we may see some of them defect over to like the standard Rebel Alliance or Bail Organa stuff over if we see these characters continue on in other things, maybe.
Very good.
But,
Very good.
And they're and the ones who are fighting are using clone trooper blasters from Attack of the Clones, but they've been like modified and stuff. So like when Kenobi gets there, he like literally looks. There's like a moment where he looks at the stormtrooper guns or the partisan guns, and he's like, and he notices that they're the old guns that the clones he used to hang out with use, and they've been reworked. So it's kind of a fun continuation of the idea all the way back to the Onderon Saw Gerrera stuff, where he and Kenobi and Ahsoka teach those guys how to start becoming rebels on their own world. And
nice tie into Clone Wars, the Clone Wars animated series, which has a nice backstory for Saw Gerrera in there as well. So, and he also shows up in Rebels, by the way. So nice tie-ins across the board. Saw Gerrera, but this again, just to be perfectly clear, no Saw Gerrera in Kenobi.
No,
we're not saying that. You're not saying that.
I really, if that happened, I would be like, whoa, what? Like I did not see that happening, kind of thing. And and I feel like if like Two Tubes and Moroff were there too, that would have been one of those things that everybody who was around would have been like, yeah, we saw the big hairy guy from Solo or the big hairy guy from Rogue One or whatever, and nobody said that. Nobody's mentioned it. Yeah. So when I asked around, I was told that they're just primarily younger actors playing the partisans.
And in the story you mentioned, and X-Wings kind of touched on it too. There's different kind of factions. There's more of a peaceful kind of faction, as well as the more militant factions, and you begin to see some of that as well.
Yeah. Like we see like what a mix it is of both of those things at this point. And so it's I think kind of like it's sort of neat in a way, because when we get to Rogue One, we have the Rebel Alliance, but they're kind of worthless in the moment anyways. If they're a bunch of people who stand around in a circle and can't get anything done, they're like a committee, and no one can commit to doing anything. And so we end up with but we do end up with that, with the Rogue One movement just going, we're going forward, we're doing this whether we're with you guys or not. And so we see kind of where the good side of rebellion sort of ends up by Rogue One. And I'm guessing that we're going to have that explored more in Cassian, in the Cassian show. So I am kind of expecting these shows to talk to each other, at least thematically.
Yeah, and Meg and I, we've talked repeatedly how we expect there to be tie-ins to Rebels, and again, it may not be that Rebels is like required homework before watching it, but that Rebels will be kind of given a lot of nods here and there. So again, being able to to recognize those will add another layer of depth to the shows that you may not see otherwise. And as we talked about, even in Rogue One, you can see Chopper make his way across the floor there, and when you see Chopper, you may, if you've never seen Rebels, you may think, oh look, there just goes another droid, or may completely ignore it. But when you know that it's Chopper and you see him go across, it's one of those really cool moments that you're like, oh, I get the Easter egg, right? It's just a lot of fun. So that same sort of thing will happen if you've not seen Saw Gerrera or the partisans outside of Rogue One. You may not be aware of sort of the depth of it. So really good point to go catch up on Clone Wars and Rogue One, just to get all of that detail that, again, you may not just normally pick up on.
Yeah.
So you just released a brand new article, and we'll take a look at it here as well. Jedi Fallen Order 2, the Purge Trooper,
Obi-Wan Kenobi and Fallen Order.
Yeah. So we've got a mixed story here. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Jedi Fallen Order 2, and the Purge Trooper. So so here you go. A question asked pretty often on this show.
Yeah, I've been asked on this show several times.
The Jedi hunting stormtroopers. Yep.
Yeah.
They're usually Purge Troopers go where Inquisitors go. So now you get to the Purge Trooper 2.0. In Kenobi and Fallen Order 2, introduced to a new iteration of Purge Trooper. It's the same Purge Trooper, new can. Oh, that's a good. I like that description. New can. The helmet has been reworked and revised a bit, which you kind of texted us the other day. We were chatting about it, and for all of you Hasbro figure collectors, the Vintage Collection and Black Series Collection, here's great news for you. Great news! You get the same figure, just a different head. Different head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there may be differences that are beyond in the costume, but and stuff like that. But for all intents and purposes, it was the same costume. Yeah. I don't want to get people outraged that are collecting, saying that I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I saw them; they were like this big, and I was like, oh yeah, that is a different helmet. But
I'm familiar enough with Hasbro to know that it's going to happen, right? Yeah. And you said the helmet's been changed; it's closer to a shore trooper. So you got a Purge Trooper with a shore trooper helmet ish kind of thing.
Yeah, it's more in that style. It's closer to that kind of look. And I personally think it's better, but obviously we'll have to see what people think when they see it. And and I think that we're supposed to be seeing Jedi Fallen Order 2 at Celebration.
Yep. And
so with that in mind, these guys are going to show up in that game and there. And I believe they're mainly in the 3rd and 4th episode of Kenobi. So with that in mind, I think Celebration will have already occurred. So most likely it will be a Jedi Fallen Order 2 scoop and not really a Kenobi scoop, if you will.
Very good.
On this one.
Yeah. And you mentioned they do show up there on Jabim. So we had talked about Jabim in the other story. Like the World War I-ish kind of armor, the old clone trooper weapons kind of been modified, and now you get brand new Purge Troopers, are 2.0 for lack of a better term at this point. The shore trooper Purge Trooper, the shore Purge Trooper. Will make their appearance.
Well, and one thing I didn't want to get into too deep into in the article, because I don't want to misspeak, and I could be wrong, but the initial versions of the Purge Troopers, some of those guys were clones, and I think the story, maybe this is speculation, but the story maybe as they move away from clones entirely, 10 years after, there's no more, there aren't clones really being used anymore. I think these might be more of the inscripted stormtrooper versions once the clones were completely phased out. I think that might be where they're going with this, but that's sort of speculation.
Excellent. It's super exciting, and I think people are going to enjoy seeing another kind of iteration, getting us closer and closer to, and not to confuse Purge troopers with the Dark troopers we see in Mandalorian season 2, but
Right.
the Empire is messing around with different kinds of iterations of troopers that lead to Dark troopers and Purge troopers, all this. But the tie-in with the Inquisitors is absolutely pertinent, and it ties right in.
Yeah.
So,
and one thing I kind of drop in there, a little nugget that I put into that one that will lead to something that I have coming up soon, is Kenobi is. It sounds to me, I'm working on this one. I'm trying to figure out the logistics of all of this, but it appears he doesn't have his lightsaber, and he may not have his lightsaber in the first battle with Vader, the first encounter.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I'm just throwing it out there. This is speculation on my part. I'm trying to work it out and understand the logistics of certain parts of this, but he may take the Inquisitor saber, and that may be kind of at one point how he goes up against it. With Darth Vader. And so I'm throwing that out there. That's a bit of speculation on my part right now, because there's a couple of things where I'm just like, wait a minute, if we get here, I'm trying to figure out how I feel like it's 2015, and I'm trying to trace the lineage of a lightsaber that they took out of the movie.
Well,
that's what because it didn't work.
It very well could be Kenobi with a red saber, which would be neat. And also, we know in the my least favorite Star Wars movie of all, Attack of the Clones, he has to use an uncivilized weapon.
So, and in this show, he uses the uncivilized weapon several times. I know that for sure. Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, we even seen it in the trailer. He's using the gun in the trailer.
Yes. And we do see that in it. Yeah. Meg, you got me this close that time, right? I was already hovered over, and my finger was applying pressure to the click. And then I was last second able to stop myself from clicking on that comment.
Give in, Santa. Click on the comment.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. So very good, and that's I think very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. Yeah. Thank you for discussing that before your own show.
Yeah, it's in the show. I got everybody in the chat here has been asking, like, a couple of episodes about the Purge troopers, and at first I was like, what are they even talking about? I couldn't remember for a while, and then I was like, oh yeah, those guys.
yes, Matt. I avoided premature clickage. Right. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So there's a couple of other things that I wanted to go through today. And Meg covered a lot of stories this morning that are coming in from the gaming side and from the comic side of things. And there's a lot to discuss. And the first is, again, just to tie in with the Jedi Fallen Order. This is what you were referencing before. Jeff Grubb was saying 100% Jedi Fallen Order 2 will be shown at Star Wars Celebration in May. So that goes directly to your article.
I don't really I don't know, scoop Star Wars Celebration stuff. It's like, it's like whatever, but he's completely 100% right. Like it's going to happen there. Like I don't know anything about the video game industry, but that is 100% right.
Excellent.
For sure. So yeah,
excellent.
So everyone, if you believe what I say, I believe what he's saying 100%.
Very good. Very good. And this Wednesday, we're supposed to get an updated trailer or a new trailer for the Lego Star Wars game. And I've been seeing some of the gameplay walkthrough have been shown from the game manufacturers to kind of give a preview. Those previews are out there. You can kind of go out and see. And again, Meg covered this, and they also covered on the Star Wars Newsnet. They talking about watching some of the playthrough of the game, and it looks to be fantastic. What the kind of comedy that you would expect to see in Lego Star Wars, the kind of gameplay you would expect to see, and it looks like it's very, very well done. One of the things I heard him talking about as far as Lego Star Wars on Star Wars Newsnet is if you're playing multiplayer walkthrough, and one player keeps getting hammed at one place, right? They just absolutely getting slaughtered, and you can't get past that. You could drop them out, move the game forward, and then bring them back.
Yeah.
So so that the gameplay overall isn't held up until the one player.
It's so good parents can play with their kids who suck, or the parent, or the other way. If the parents suck,
the other way,
kids are good. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, Dad, just stop here.
Yeah.
Right?
My son has been like asking about this game for like a year and a half. Like, and it just keeps getting pushed back and everything. And but I went and looked into it, and if you're buying a physical copy, buy it from Best Buy, because you get a steelbook of Lego Carbonite steelbook case that the game goes in. It's the same price, so you might as well get it at Best Buy and get the cool case. But I know everything about the ending of the
series. I wasn't going to answer for you. You've
but I'm not going to say it today.
No, we've talked, and I can say that what I've heard, what you've shared with me, sounds very exciting, and I can't wait for you to be able to get to that, or for folks to get to that part. So again, we don't want to completely spoil it, even though we got a spoiler warning. We don't want to spoil the entire show for everybody. So. Is it good? Is the ending good?
Yes.
Again, it's subjective, but I would absolutely say yes. That's how my impression of what I've heard. It sounds very good, and I think some folks will. Will enjoy it.
Oh yeah, and there's always going to be that one person who just like meh, 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 about whatever it is. But in general, like I would say like from a critical perspective, it's very well done. I mean, it just is. It's like without just armchairing. I can't even really actually armchair it and make it any better. I don't think very easily. Someone will try, but no, I think everyone's going to be happy with it. I feel like, and I also feel like I'm going to be honest with people. If they watch this show and they have story problems, just quit, because it's never going to work for you. Like, I think this is as good as they can do. I really do.
That's a good point. I like Meg's comment. This is hilarious. In the end, Obi-Wan looks into binary sunset and says, "I'm a Skywalker."
Do you want to know what he actually says? He goes, "I guess we're all Skywalkers now." No.
But I saw Green Bear. Green Bear's been in the comments. He has an interesting thought that in A New Hope, Uncle Owen says that Kenobi guy, he's dead. Could it be that at the end of this show, or as a result of the show, people are told that Obi-Wan was killed, or they believe that Obi-Wan was killed, and then following that, he's not lying. He does think that Obi-Wan was actually killed.
I mean, I think that maybe, I could be wrong, but I think that may be left open to interpretation. I think that, could he go see Owen the next day and then just take that away? I think so. But if they never made anything else, would that be the interpretation? I think that's also possible.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out and what people take from it. But yeah, you raised another good point, and I watched X-Wing did a video. I think it was Friday, a live stream. It was just him talking about like the state of Star Wars and his relationship to the franchise, and dealing with some of the frustrations that he and others have had. We all do with Star Wars from time to time, and kind of turning a corner and kind of getting to a point where you're like taking it for what it is and not trying to make it what it isn't. And X-Wing's point was that this is not George Lucas Star Wars anymore. It stopped being George Lucas Star Wars some time ago, and we're watching the next evolution of Star Wars. And I've used the examples before of like different eras of, say, Genesis, or different eras of different bands where what's the one that changed lead singers all the time? It happens all the time. They'll
Van
change lead
Halen,
singers.
AC/DC.
Van Halen. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
So Van Halen, right? There's different eras of Van Halen.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, I like this era of Van Halen over that era of Van Halen. It's still all Van Halen. And some people are just like, that other part's trash, right? I don't like it. But that's okay. It's okay to say that maybe you are more of a fan of the George Lucas era of Star Wars over the post-Lucas era of Star Wars, but then to be able to just see it for what it is, right?
It's all Michael Anthony on bass, man. Come on. Oh, no, sorry.
Matt Risman, I love that you brought up Phil Collins' name, because that's Jason's very favorite artist of all time. I loved whenever I hear Phil Collins on the radio. The other day I was at the store and we're going through, and I hear Phil Collins. I'm like, oh, Jason needs to know.
I think you texted
I'm texting Jason on a Saturday afternoon from Home Depot. Like, it was the best. It was. Was absolutely the best. So no, and it's okay for folks to say that. And I think recognizing Star Wars in different eras is okay. It's okay to say this is the Lucas era, this is the post-Lucas era, and to say that you're more of a fan of the Lucas era. But then when you're looking at the post-Lucas era, to think that it's still the Lucas era is the misnomer, right? And it can lead to more and more frustration and kind of build that tension and make you more and more bitter because it continues to be not George Lucas.
Well, and also pay attention to the people who want to make you bitter, because they don't actually have a vested interest in you enjoying yourself. They'll say, or they'll hear something, then they'll take whatever they hear and they'll turn it into something else, knowing that it will then disappoint you, and then they can grift off of it. I mean, that's just what this platform does.
I like fan gesture. My favorite is the pre-Lucas era, like the original trilogy era, when he wasn't just completely.
Talking about like Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, Lost in Space.
Yeah, Van Halen versus Van Hagar, right? You guys get it. You guys get it. The Queen does have a new lead singer, by the way. So you've got the original, and then you've got
they've had a few. They've had a few. Yeah. I saw something with Paul Rogers. It was pretty boring until Brian May just sang the Queen songs without Paul Rogers. I've been there,
right?
But I didn't make it my personality. Like, oh, Paul Rogers sucks. Let me talk about that all day on the internet. That's weird.
Yeah, and Dominic, going back to the sports ball, and I love Fan Gesture's Discord has a sports ball channel, and I've been participating on here. I've got my brackets, my March Madness brackets, and I actually had Ohio State falling out after the first round, so but that part of my bracket's still alive. But a couple of other teams have disappointed me greatly. Illinois absolutely destroyed me. Kentucky didn't give me any favors. I think everybody is. I heard this morning there is not one single perfect bracket of the millions that are submitted. There's not one single bracket that's still perfect. So I'm not alone. But I do want to get into this. And you were mentioning this story continues to get grifted. There are grifters that won't leave it alone, and that's one of the things, like you just mentioned. You kind of gotta pinpoint some of these content creators that are just trying to grift and get their clicks and get people worked up. The biggest problem I have with the grifters, I'm gonna just call it this, is people start to believe the narrative.
Yeah,
right. People begin, and then the narrative, the truth, so to speak, becomes the grift. And the grift was never the truth, right? It was never the truth. And that happens throughout Star Wars isn't unique in this, by the way, but it's happened within the Star Wars community repeatedly. And this is the latest version of it, the latest iteration of it. We were joking earlier about the Civil War grift, right? That's again another grift that's made its way in. People just kind of playing it up. And I've read so many articles, and I've seen them posted on our Discords. I've seen it come up in my news feeds. I get it from Yahoo News. I get it everywhere because this original story that came out, and when you get a reputable, so to speak, a publication posts the story, and then people take it out, and then they start putting their grift to it. Right? They keep putting some sort of spin to it, like Filoni saved Star Wars again from the evil clutches of Kathleen Kennedy, or whatever. Yeah. Right? Like it's ridiculous, and it just keeps making it over and over and over again that this was ever a thing.
Lucasfilm must have one hell of an HR company or team, because no one can get fired during all of these civil wars. Like in reality, if there was even a tenth of that was true, both of them would be fired. And I've known of stories like that at Lucasfilm when like an executive and somebody else are going head to head. What they do, they fire both of them, and then they hire the one who they like better back later. That's literally what they do every time. That's not common in corporate culture. That's common.
It is common. I want to highlight that, because when I first went to work, so I was an educator. I taught middle school social studies and all that. But when I first started working in corporate culture, we were working for a major bank, and in the mortgage area. My wife's been a mortgage officer for 30 years. But she had me come work there during the summer as a teacher. You're looking for extra, income. And one thing that was very common, it would happen every year or two, like very, very frequently, is they would identify a large swath of employees, and they would basically take the entire mortgage underwriting group, and a big portion of them would be retained, but another very large portion, like double digits, 10, 20, 30% of them might be given notices. You're being let go. Right? So they would, thousands of employees, like we're talking 1,500, 3,000, 4,000 employees would get their notices that you don't have a job. Yeah. And immediately they'd start rehiring out of those, right? So they would take this big portion of them, and what they were doing is they were keeping the good talent, and they're just reorganizing, putting them in a different portion of the bank that never existed before, and they would give them the same job back.
Yeah.
It's very common in corporate culture, right?
Yeah.
So you're exactly right, and people misread it all the time.
We also need to teach these, not the people in the chat here, but the general fandom needs to learn what the word in perpetuity means. When George Lucas sells Star Wars in perpetuity, he doesn't get stuff back. He doesn't get any money. He sold it in perpetuity. So there's no reason to make a character be lame or not show up again because they have to pay Lucas. That's not how it works.
It's not a thing.
And he owns $2 billion, more than $2 billion in stock now. And that's where he gets his money. And he doesn't care if it's Chewbacca or Chewmama. It's the same to George Lucas at the end of the day. It's all the same. And these guys, they just keep pushing these, like, I don't know where they get this stuff, but it's definitely not from here. It's somewhere back here in this region below your back.
Yes. right beneath your lumbar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Somewhere north of your thigh and short of your lumbar, right? In that general vicinity. Right?
Small exhaust port. But our targeting computers can hit it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Folks, and I know we've been trying, right? Meg is trying, Jason's trying, I'm trying, X-Wing, like we're all trying to let you all know, like this grift is out there. But when you get many channels and many publications, Screen Rant or you name it. I mean, I'm not poking a finger at Screen Rant, although they often catch the grift and publish it. They're not grifters themselves. They're not creating it. But in this case, this story is very much a grift. This is very much a fake kind of spin. It's a spin on news that was never real.
Yeah, and like Boris Kit, who wrote the original article, that guy's a rock star. I mean, he gets all kinds of things right all the time, but in that instance, he was completely not right. He was wrong on that one. It wasn't right. And then what sucks about it is now it's going to be used to sell this phantom idea that there was this alternate version that was so different, and it's just not true whatsoever. Not even a little bit.
And I've already seen the story that says, Filoni saved Kenobi. Right? I've seen that story. It came across my thing, and I'm like, oh. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't, but when you read the story, it's off the original that was bad.
Yeah.
And it's been pointed out over and over again that even in the original story, they said that it was debunked in the original story.
Yeah.
But they ran the story anyway.
Yeah, it was weird. That was definitely weird.
Well, look what it's done. Look what it's done, right? It's spun story after story after story afterwards. So enough of that. I just want to point out that, look, that we're trying to let you all know, right, that to the best of our ability, what you can rely on, and we're trying to make it clear when we're speculating. We're trying to make it clear when this isn't actual news; it's somebody's theory or rumor, and that's very important. Meg is brilliant at it as well, and Meg is. She's not our only hope, but boy, she is a major actor in the fandom. More and more people are discovering her, and she is absolutely a critical piece of bringing us all together and sharing information that, in a way that is constructive and helpful. And
she got the brains. She got the brains.
She does,
and that's all you need. At the end of the day,
Meg is the complete package. She's the complete package, and absolutely love her content. And I'm privileged to call her a friend. Jason and I both we truly appreciate being her friend. So enough of that. All snap. So there's been a little bit of news here about this came up, Rogue Squadron again, right? This is what happens when you don't give updates on what's going on. And an idea came to me as I was reading this. It's something that, and I talked about working in a corporate environment, and many of you know I'm a programmer. I do database programming and corporate kind of programming. What Lucasfilm needs. Listen, Lucasfilm, if you guys are listening, if anybody knows anybody who knows somebody who might be able to whisper a rumor or something in Lucasfilm's ears, what they really need is a dashboard of projects. And on this dashboard, it would list all the things that have been announced. And they could even put on that dashboard unannounced project A, B, C, D, E, right? They could just have a list. And on that dashboard, it would give status, and it would give an update. So the status might be Rogue One status, amber. We like to say that instead of yellow these days, just so you know.
Oh, we sound fancy.
Yeah. It's the amber saber, right? It's the amber saber, not the yellow saber, Meg. So anyway,
I've seen Amber dance, and she's pretty good at it. So, sorry.
But it could be right. No, it could have status amber. It could have release date December 2023. Update. The project is moving forward. Project on hold. Project a new director being whatever, just give us a dashboard of all the projects and then update it. Keep it updated. Put useful information on there. You don't have to give away the store. You don't have to tell us all the details. You don't have to, give us the leaks and all of that. Just give us a dashboard of all the projects, their status, and their like release schedule, if known. Right? The release date could be TBA, TBD, or so if we could see Rogue One, a Rogue Squadron, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, you can see it's in amber. And one day the release date changes from December 2023 to TBD. Oh boy.
Or they could just do articles like 10 reasons why Chewbacca will always be your friend. Right. Or you could just do that.
Meg, you do get me to read this one. As Jason has pointed out, I am a capitalist, and with enough money, I'll say anything. I thank you for the kind words about my full package, Santa. It means a lot. Much love. And Meg does have a full package. Oh my goodness, Meg! I love you so much. So no, the update on Rogue Squadron, well, you could just see like maybe the date changes, maybe a director changes, maybe something in the status changes from amber to green to red. Like you get that kind of stuff, and it could absolutely be informative. It would keep the fandom kind of strayed away from the grifters coming in making up stuff, or from having to try to read tea leaves. And Astromech Jeremy, thank you so much again for the super chat. I wanted to say hi. And like all grifters, they rely on the audience being quasi-clueless and not very curious about researching. 100% true. That is 100% true, Astromech Jeremy. Thank you for that. And this Rogue One story is what made me think of this dashboard that Lucasfilm needs to give us. A project dashboard. And it's so that we can all see it. And we could go out there and say, oh, this story came out. And what happened is a tweet between, what's the dude's name? Let me go down here. There's a tweet. Oh, here it is. Twitter user Jedi for Liberty shared details from a recent experience at GalaxyCon Richmond, including a meeting with author Michael Stackpole, the writer who created Rogue Squadron and Legends X-Wing comics, right? And stated he's very excited about Rogue Squadron film and revealed he'd been in contact with director Patty Jenkins early on. This is it. That's the story.
Yeah.
Right? That he had contact with Patty Jenkins early on. Oh, update. Rogue Squadron on schedule. It's happening. It's going to happen. We saw this. Stackpole was at a con, and here you go. Or Jedi for Liberty talked to Michael Stackpole, and he said he talked to Patty Jenkins. Oh boy!
Now we know. Want to hear some irony? Is over the weekend I reached out to a friend who was working on Indiana Jones. I wanted to hear some Indiana Jones stuff, maybe, and I asked about you guys going to do Rogue Squadron? Anything about that out there? And there's like, nah, man, it's quiet. It's real quiet. So I'm of the opinion that it's not coming out in 2023.
No, I'm with you.
I hope I'm wrong. But I mean, until we hear it's filming, we can't even begin to project a release date, a realistic release date.
Exactly, realistically. And Green Bear, you're a dirty dog. He just did finish rebranding his YouTube channel, and he put out the video that I talked about earlier, the theory that maybe they think that Kenobi is dead, so he's not lying. So I watched his video. I subbed to his channel, and now he super chatted $10, and this is Jason Ward's fault because he taught everybody, if you want Santa to say something on stream, you just super chat him.
Just pay him. And he'll do it.
You just the capitalist wins out over everything else, and I have to say the best Gar boner. There you have it, Green Bear. You made me say it.
if your channel was called the Beskar Boner, I will like literally give you some scoops so that way people have to cite the Beskar Boner because that would be fantastic. I would just love to see some people go.
That is the name of his channel now.
It is. It's called that. It is really called that.
It is called that.
Fantastic. Beskar Boner is my favorite YouTube channel officially.
Well, there you go. You can cite him again on your show today. So there you have it.
I will. I'm going to be like, man, I was doing this story and I was just thinking about like, how would the Beskar Boner report this? You know, I mean, that's what's Green Bear going to say over at Beskar Boner? So,
yeah, you have it.
Subscribe to that channel because that's great. That's fantastic. And somewhere Captain Phasma is like,
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Here's the actual tweet. Let me bump the size of this. So it's easier to read. It says, great meeting with Michael Stackpole, who told me he was highly excited about the upcoming Rogue Squadron movie and assured me Patty Jenkins had been in contact with him early on. Well, early on doesn't mean that it's recent.
Well, no, it means that they're hanging out and they have like a little tent in the backyard. And he's like, who's your favorite pilot? And she's like, I don't know. I think I like Wedge. And he's like, yeah, I like Porkins though. He seems like he'd keep you warm. And then, it probably means that they had like a complimentary phone call. I hope it's more than that, but that's probably what it comes down to. They had a phone call. Hey, what was your experience? What do you think worked? What do you think the fans like really eat? What are a couple things you think should be in this movie? And they okay, thank you.
It says right in the story here on the direct, it says it's not much, but no kidding, no, it's not much. Sure. But Stackpole's comments are just enough to give Star Wars fans hope that Rogue Squadron is advancing towards production, and there hasn't been anything since 2019, and folks are hoping to get a return to Star Wars in theaters. And assuming the initial deadline is still on target, December 2023, it'll have been 4 years since a flick or new series hit the silver screen. What's strange is it's a complete radio silence surrounding the project. Again, Lucasfilm, please, for the love of all that's good, for the fandom, for your brand, for the franchise, and all of the grifters out there who keep making up stories that are completely false, give us a dashboard. Give us a dashboard. That's all we need.
Or how about just give us production updates, because that's fun. It yes. You know what I mean? Like today, you know, we hired so-and-so, or so-and-so's come on to the production. Like that kind of news is fun. Instead, awesome. it's like the top 10 cookie recipes you could have for your stupid Star Wars party. None of these people have friends. I don't have any friends. I can't make any cookies for anybody. Why are you showing me this? Just hurting my feelings. But I mean, like that was great when they used to do production updates. I love it. I like that stuff.
It would be great. It would be great. So there's that. I wanted to bring up. There's another. Let's see. I can't remember what order these are in. Oh, that's out of order. Oh, so Meg was talking about some comic book updates, and one of her updates showed that Yoda had an apprentice on Dagobah. And if you'd like the full detail of that, go check out Meg's video from today. And I loved it. Meg, please keep giving us more of the comic book outlined. Dominic's trolling Meg again. We love it. Thank you, Dominic, for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like when a doctor gives you bad news. It's a lot easier hearing it from Meg. The bedside manner is just better, you know, in terms of most of the comic books. So yeah, you should definitely do more comics, Meg.
She did a great job of covering the latest comic from Crimson Reign, and the story there of an archivist who ends up going and meeting with Yoda, who had a really kind of misinterpreted or misconceived her perception of the Force was a little askew, and Yoda helped correct that, and through the use of the dark side cave on Dagobah, all of that. So please go check out Meg's video on it to get more of that detail. It's absolutely fantastic. But then there's this other story that came up in Screen Rant. Again, I was picking on them a little bit earlier. So here's a better story. I enjoyed this. This comes from another comic related to the High Republic. And one of the things, again, we've got spoilers up there. One of the things in the High Republic are these creatures called the Nameless. Well, they are attracted to force sensitivity, and they can suck the life out of somebody, right?
Me too.
They leave them as empty husks, shells, and they just turn to dust. And these Nameless were involved early on, and there's a great comic panel here where they show this is one of the major bad guys in the series. And he says, I used the Nameless to kill Jedi, many Jedi. And he's killed several Jedi with this Nameless thing. The ones who are left won't be able to act. They don't know how to fight these things. It's not quite a Medusa, where this guy here looks like he's been petrified, turned to stone. No, they're turned more into like an empty shell, a husk of a person. And wind or anything can just blow them away into nothing.
Star Wars marriage. Wait, Santa, the trailer for Kenobi teased them. Remember the logo? You're like, oh, dude.
Actually, Jedi Fallen Order, somebody spotted one of them in the first game. They've noticed one of these husks in the game. They come across one of them, and as they enter it, it just kind of blows away into nothing. Yeah. But it looked like a person. It looked a lot like this dude. And then as they come around the corner, it just blew away. But in here, it says, how did you know about these things? I've never heard anything like this. And the response is, of course not. The Jedi suppressed all knowledge of these creatures. Sounds a lot like the Jedi. It's a story the Jedi wouldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Darth, have you ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Well, this is sort of the same thing, right? It's something the Jedi suppressed all knowledge of these creatures, but my family was connected in an attempt to use them once before, long ago, and despite the Jedi's efforts to exterminate us, we survived. We remember. Oh, very good content. And Hawks Holocrons, y'all sleeping on the High Republic. Look, the High Republic does have some great stories. And you want to complain about people not dying in Star Wars? Read High Republic. It'll cure you of that. Because major characters, major Jedi, major stories, they die. Absolutely. Tragic deaths. So, but I wanted to give this because it is a great update. And I picked on the Screen Rant earlier. This is a good story. The Jedi almost killed the galaxy before the Sith returned. A little clickbaity here, but beyond that, Marchion Ro is the bad guy in the High Republic era, and it's Marchion giving the story of the Nameless, which do have a major role in the story. So absolutely worth watching. Martin Keeler, I love you, my friend. It's an inside joke. But just know that his comment is an inside joke. Just we'll leave it there. So I wanted to again address this because this came up in another grifter video, and it came up on my recommended ones today. Folks are familiar with the High Inquisitor, right? You're also familiar with the species from.
The High Inquisitor is that one dude that's on Tatooine. The Grand Inquisitor is the Grand. The High Inquisitor. He's a good time though. He's pretty good. He's pretty fun.
He's been hooked on those sand lizards.
If you want to play like Nintendo with someone for like 8 hours, the High Inquisitor is your guy. But
right, he's addicted to sand lizards. He's
really good at Smash Bros. Really good at Smash Bros.
Grand Inquisitor. Same species we saw from the prequel era, right? The same species, different dude, but same species, and they kind of have this elongated head, right?
Well, he does. Yeah.
Right. Well, and so does the Grand Inquisitor, right? A little elongated head. But what we've noticed is there was comes from the grifter. They noticed this dude. This is our Grand Inquisitor again.
Okay.
His head isn't quite as tall as what it's shown, in the species before. It's more human shaped, right?
Yeah,
more human shaped.
Kind of like Cad Bane.
Kind of like Cad Bane, but kind of like this guy, right? More human shaped. So look, this guy's noggin and this guy's noggin aren't as different. And so is Star Wars kind of retconning the species? Are they retconning the Grand Inquisitor? Is this to try to fix? Is this try to fix this? What's going on? Again, watch for grifter videos on it. I honestly, from what you've told us, and it came up last week as well, the Grand Inquisitor may not be featured all that much.
Yeah, I mean he's like there, but he can't die. He can't. Reva is our main villain besides Darth Vader. Reva and Vader are the two. The fifth brother is just like a rival to her, and not really that important.
Excellent.
It's not that they aren't there, and then they have that other Inquisitor in the trailer. I don't think that one even does anything. That one just shows up in the background.
I'm gonna click a button, and if something happens, something happens. If not, that's fine. This is just me testing something. I'm gonna click a button. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Oh, it's actually doing a thing. Okay, so anyhow.
Santa just installed Windows updates, everyone.
I'm working on a Streamlabs integration that shows participation during the live stream. And so I just tested the Streamlabs integration in Streamlabs. I'm going to try it here. We're going to see if anything happens or not. Anything happen?
Okay.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Okay. I still haven't figured it out. That's the short of it. So I wanted to test it before we got to the very end of the stream. And Mike Porter, I love, he put in here, he changed his name. I want to go back to read my new name. Here it is. Mike Chumama is my favorite Star Wars character. Pick that up from you, Jason. Chewbacca or Chumama. That was great. That was absolutely great. Will we be seeing the Inquisitors fly with the twirly lightsabers?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I haven't heard that. Thankfully, I haven't heard it, but you never know. You never know, but I don't think so.
Dominic, don't encourage Green Bear anymore, right? I saw that. Chumama is totally a thing now. I do have the Mike Porter dad joke of the day to kind of wrap things up. Anything else, Jason? You're be live streaming at the top of the hour? Go ahead.
I am, but do we need to talk about Doc Brown, or are we not talking about Doc Brown?
You know what? I completely skipped that. Let me check.
Yeah,
I do have notes here, and I think we've covered everything else. Yep, we covered everything else.
Christopher Lloyd's rumored to be in Mando.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd, Mandalorian season 3, and the questions have been about who is he?
Yeah,
who is he?
I had a report like days before about a crusty old white guy and a crusty old dark skinned guy that are Mandalorian leaders that are forced to be brought together in the season, and I'm curious if that's who we're talking about here. If that's who that was. And if maybe, on the day that my sources were mentioning it, it wasn't Christopher Lloyd, maybe it was the stand-in or something like that. But I'm trying to make my stuff work with this other thing, and it may not work at all. I'm just, up front. But but it's fascinating because Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown, I love Back to the Future as much as I love Star Wars. And so when I heard this, I was over the moon.
And Dominic, you remind me of a famous Debate 8 episode where we were talking about Christophers. We were talking about different actors, Christophers in movies. So Fanjaxers is Debate 8. You take different topics and you debate 8 different things. It could be movies, actors, directors, whatever. And he had a guest on to discuss them, right? And we're going through the debate on Christopher's, and we got down to Christopher Walken versus Christopher Lee.
Okay.
Right?
That's not fair. That's not fair. You shouldn't have to ever pick between those two.
You got more cowbell versus Count Dooku. Now, to me, it's a clear winner, right?
Well, Count Dooku killed Nazis, and he wasn't there when Natalie Wood died. So let's go with Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee is a clear winner.
But did you know that both were up for Count Dooku? Christopher Walken was up for Count Dooku as well. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. But you know something, Chris? You know something Adam didn't know. What Fan Jexter didn't know, don't you? You know he didn't know. He didn't know that Christopher Lee was dead because I made my impassioned defense of Christopher Lee winning over Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
And you know what Fan Jexter says? He says, "Well, I'm not gonna what has Christopher Lee done lately?"
That's a good point.
You know what I said?
What has he done lately?
I said he's dead.
Decomposed? I mean, I'll tell you this: he's decomposing, and I've never seen Christopher Walken decompose once.
and Adam's like, oh. It was absolutely classic. My friend Trinity from Second Street Marvel clipped it, and he busted a gut. He completely lost it. It was fantastic. But Christopher Lloyd, another actor that I like better than Christopher Walken, Christopher Lloyd showing up in the Mandalorian season 3 would be fantastic. Time traveling, and he's
the biggest Lloyd since Jake Lloyd. Think of it that way.
There you go. I love Christopher. Again, I went back to Lee.
Yeah,
Christopher Lloyd being in it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and he has, as you pointed out, he's played serious roles. He's not just comedic relief from Taxi or from the only trilogy still in existence.
Yeah,
as you pointed out.
Yeah, the Back to the Future trilogy is the last trilogy standing. So I say
it would be great to see. It'll be great to see him in whatever the role is that he has. So that's fantastic. All right. Well, I was hoping that I would get, by invoking Adam's name, I get him to come on to the chat, try to defend himself. It was a lot of fun. That debate 8, one of my favorite. It was a lot of fun. So, and again, we know the typo, right? There's a typo over there. There's I want to show you guys something else, and I need your feedback. So I'm gonna increase the size here. Too big. Oh, let me see if I can.
You're my I'm the puppet master of Star Wars Senate.
If I can, no, it's not gonna let me switch it. Where'd you go? Where? Wait, what? Wait, I clicked on something. Hi, show. There you are.
I'm back.
You disappeared. I couldn't get you to come back.
Yeah,
so let me see.
I'll talk to you the whole time.
There we go. So I've got this background. We've got new backgrounds, and my friend Russell is working on them, and I just need your all's input. So we've got the Storytime Santa. He updated this. The snowflakes and things in the window are updated, but I've got 2 new ones I want to try, and the one is Santa's Workshop. So we've got Santa's Workshop here. Okay. You can see the coat on the wall back there. We've got a to-do list, things here.
Why can't we see any elves? What don't you want us to see here? What are you hiding?
So it's kind of magical, right? It's kind of, it's a little dark, and then there's this version that is lightened. So we've got the lightened version, and we got the not lightened version.
Okay,
right? We'll call it dark, light. Which one is? Does this one look too washed out? Does it look just brighter, more cheery, more Santa?
I feel like the darker one to me has a little bit more of that Christmassy, like, kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I like the darker one as well, but I do like, the lighter. It was suggested that maybe it was too dark. Try to lighten it up.
Maybe start there, and then you pull the audience in with your story, and then you're like, boom! Now here we go. Eyes on Santa.
Well, we do have this new intro, and I've been using it a little bit here, right? If I turn this intro on, it comes in like you're coming in from outside, and then when you get into the inside, right, it gets there. Boom! Now you're talking to Santa, right?
Right.
And I think because it's dark outside, it's dark inside. You got the same sort of blue hue in the window that was in the other.
We need like a tambourine playing or something though as we go in. Like a sleigh thing or something.
We need sleigh bells. We need sleigh bells.
We need some sleigh bells roll.
Yeah, I've got sleigh bells, but I don't have them here with me. But you're right. You're right. We need to put a sleigh bell sort of overlay in there, something like that, something magical. So I needed to do that. So now we can do the Mike Porter dad joke of the day. Right? Yes. We can do the Mike Porter dad joke of the day. And the Mike Porter dad joke that's where is it?
It's up top.
Wait,
it's
hold
up
on.
here.
I gotta I gotta move it.
Force.
Here we go. How do angels greet each other? They say, "Halo, how are you?"
You did it again, Mike Porter. Another hit.
Another hit. It was absolutely great. We need Star Wars toys on the shelves. Blurgs. It'll all be great. We're working on this. So thank you all for being here today. Jason, thank you for sharing your new story with us. And we'll look for you and Sketchy.
And Rob and I think Max today. And we're going to talk about the stories we talked about. If anybody has any more questions or wants to come hang out in about 45 minutes.
And I caught it at the beginning of your stream. I think it was Friday afternoon. You were talking about nicknames for you and Rob, and I said it sounds like a cheap knockoff of Ren and Stimpy. Whatever it is you called yourself, I can't remember what you called yourself.
Me either.
And Sketchy, right? Ren and Stimpy. We got We've got you and Sketchy, right?
And Sketchy.
Sounds like a knockoff of Ren and Stimpy. So now we just need, and it goes with your new kind of logo thing that you've been on your stories. I'm like, now I need the video, so that's why I was, telling Mark we need a mock-up of Ren and Stimpy, but with Jason and Sketchy.
I'm all about it. Yeah. He'll probably draw it. Give him time. He'll just draw it. I think he'll do it. Unless he won't draw himself. Would he not draw himself? Let's tease him and find out.
We do. We need to get but I know he's busy. He's on a project, a super top secret, high profile project. So he's very busy.
It's a Barbie video game. In case anybody's wondering, he's drawing it for a Barbie video game.
Okay. All right. Well, Jason, again, thank you once again for being here. You guys, if you could do all the Facebooky thing, or not Facebooky, the YouTubey things, right? You need to like and subscribe and do the things. That would be.
Don't smash the like button. You're not an animal. Just click it. Just click it. Like it. And
Or somebody said at the beginning, jingle the bell. Jingle the bell, get the notifications. You want all that. If you're following us on Facebook, come check us out over on YouTube. We have a great time in this community. And our Discord, our Patreon, we're everywhere. We're doing all the things. So I appreciate you all being here. Sheev, it's good to see you here as well. You guys, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Come check out Jason on Making Star Wars at the top of the hour. And until then, Merry Christmas, everybody, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye. Hot dang!
talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Ho, 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 ho. Hot dang, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat tonight on the Star Wars Santa show. He can feel your presence. So join the chat, loosen up and have some fun with Star Wars